G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an SR-2. This is a Russian-made submachine gun, first developed around 1999, and the way I would describe this in one sentence, it's when an AK-47 and an Uzi love each other very much. They produced this thing, and for a little bit of trivia for you, this is actually an SR-2M because it's got that little safety thing there so you don't nick your fingers with the muzzle flash or possibly bullets when you fire this thing. It's got an incredibly high rate of fire at 950 rounds per minute in real life, and it fires these special rounds. They call them blunt nose Vipers. It's a little 9mm round, but it's made up of two composite parts, so it can penetrate through armor, but also be effective against unarmored targets as well. And this thing spits them out pretty quickly, of course, but we've only got the 38 calibers in here because we're just using vanilla assets here. Whether this thing goes ahead and makes a munitions patch for it, or if that happens, then that would be a little bit more fitting, but I don't mind using these rounds. They're a close enough approximation. This thing has custom sounds and animations as well, including one-handed animations if you remove this or fold that little foregrip thingy up. Let's get into the attachments. First of all, receivers as always. You can have automatic ones, but you can also have semi-auto ones if you decide to use this thing as a not automatic one. It'd be cool if you get a fire selector, but that's just not a thing that they built Fallout 4 with, so yeah, we'll make this one auto powerful and then we'll move on. That's giving us 93 damage already, which is already a cut above some of the other SMGs we had. Yeah, that's 3 in a row, by the way, for SMGs. And here's another fact about this weapon. Its nickname translated to English is Heather, which is relevant because the character I'm playing as, I was originally going to call her Heather, but I changed her name to Victoria, Vikkie for short, because that's the state where I live in Australia. It's a flawed state. Anyways, this is the stock, so you can have it unfolded or folded up. It's got a little reflex sight, which you can fold the stock right over, and you can still use the reflex sight. That's one of the design features about this particular variant. You've also got a skeletal stock there, which looks very uncomfortable, but it has less AP costs and faster ADS and better recoil, and it requires gun nut rank 2. The tactical stock here is a gun nut rank 3 and says superior recoil control. We'll go for that one. This thing's going to be firing very quickly, so I'm thinking the recoil is going to be a little bit gnarly. Now, this thing's got that reflex sight right there, so that's the one that you can fold the folding stock over and it won't be obstructed there. So we'll throw the SR-2 one on there, but you can have a number of other sights that work just as well, including a thermal scope. I'm going to use a thermal scope on this one. Requires 1 rank of sniper. Interesting. Alright, so this is how you change the animation. Standard foregrip gives you standard animations, but if you fold it, you'll be using this thing one-handed, which for style points is awesome. So we'll do that, but not on this one. Alright, so next up you've got the magazines. You can have a standard or a drum magazine, which has 80 rounds, and why would you ever not do this? We're only adding 0.6 pounds onto the weapon by doing that, so I guess it'll be better balanced now. There's more weight to absorb the recoil, right? Never mind. Anyways, you can't do anything with the barrel. You can't make that extended, unfortunately. And the sight on the, or the rail on the side here, you can put a Picatinny rail. You can attach a laser sight there, so that's a different variant because they had modernized variants with Picatinny rails on both sides, but there's only just the one Picatinny right there. And you can throw a suppressor on the muzzle, which won't reduce your range at all, which is great news, and increase our damage thanks to Ace Operator. And we've got a damage modifier here if this thing isn't quite doing it for you. I'm guessing if you've got this thing set to a very little damage amount and you make the, damage slider minus 100, you can clock the game over to making you do basically infinite damage there, or the maximum amount of damage you could have in this system. So let's not do that. We'll keep this as is, and 116 damage for this thing's fire rate I think is going to be just fine. It's going to be like that Infiltrator SMG, but it'll have some kick and punch when we are not sneaking, which is great. But another customization option is to make this thing's furniture wood rather than the standard polymer, so that's cool, I guess. You can get this weapon really easily. Just on a chemistry workbench, you'll find weapons-SR2, and you enter this sub-menu, gun nut rank 1, and the required materials, and you can have this all for yourself. I'm going to grab an extra SR-3. Welcome to legendary / unique speed round. Watch closely, I'll show you where to get the 4 uniques. First location is ArcJet Systems. You go here with Dance in your first Brotherhood of Steel mission, and this is the room with all of the destroyed robots and where Dance explains synths. Here's a tactical automatic vapor. Here it is. Extra energy damage for you, and a paint job that is space dust and purpley and pink. Next location is in the Institute FEV labs, where you can see the depths of the depravity from the Institute and where you can find the cure to Virgil's condition. The weapon you'll find is an ophthalmoscope scope. There it is. It's got a sick Institute paint on it and fires fusion cells instead of bullets, which will mean it'll do energy damage, which makes it inferior to the standard bullet shooting ones, but I can appreciate the paint job. Next location is within Wilson Automatoys HQ. Don't worry about getting any executive IDs, you won't need it. Simply go to the generator room and then find this terminal table thingy in the corner next to the flaming barrel, and you'll get the fluorite, which looks like that and does a little bit of cryo damage. That's Skyrim frost damage right there. Last but not least, we are here in the hallucinogen control room. It's the buttons you press, it'll demonstrate what kind of nonsense will go on, but what you want to go in here for is the biohazard, which I'm guessing does rad damage. No, it's poison damage. It's utterly worthless against anything that's not human because everyone's immune to poison, but I guess that makes a little bit more sense than radiation. Also, it's an all cap, so I was meant to scream it, but I won't. Okay, standard foregrip and folded foregrip. This is not one-handed. Everything I knew. Righto, so we're outside of the Immersive Gunners Plaza. Once again, you've already seen this in first person, so we'll take a quick look in third person. It's sized pretty well. It's a very compact weapon, but it doesn't feel too small or too big. They've done pretty well with that. And when you bash with this thing, you poke with the suppressor, which might be bad for the thread of this barrel and suppressor, but don't worry about that. Also, we might have to let the suppressor heat up a bit before we can, like, get extra energy damage for branding our targets when we bash them. Anyways, this is the one with the advanced receiver and thermal scope, which during the day is completely worthless, but we might be using that a little bit more later. Anyways, this one here has the folded foregrip, no stock. It's actually folded, so there is a stock, but it's got that SR-2 reflex sight, which you can fold the stock right over for maximum compactness. This one here is basically the same thing with the folded stock, different reflex sight with a drum bag and a suppressor for those particular tough stealth missions where you need like 1 billion rounds in the magazine. Let's begin. So it sounds pretty loud despite this thing, you know, being suppressed. Also, there's the full reload animation. If you don't want to see the full reload animation every time, get tactical reload, I suppose. Man, the scoped version at the moment would be great. If only it wasn't daylight. But we can still get sneak criticals very fast, provided we can get those shots on target. They have to kind of run close enough for me to actually hit them with the full damage, because we're only limiting our damage, well, we are significantly limiting our damage here. Well, that was a convenient head explosion there, because I can't believe this stealth is still working. It's fantastic. Anyways, as I was saying, this thing with its low range, we're getting huge penalties even from this distance. Also, the corpse cartwheel as well. These guys have got no idea where I am, which is great news. We'll switch over now. This one with a full stock is a little bit more predictable on its recoil. How long can I just sit here and mow them down like this? I didn't have to sit through that entire reload animation, but I chose to anyway. Now we get to use this thing with unsuppressed, or rather unstealthily. And we're still getting pretty good damage, but yeah, we're hitting for just shy of 50, and these guys are soaking up that damage quite a lot. So it's kind of like a little bit like the Infiltrator SMG the other day. I'm just going to dance around it. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got pretty messed up there. Someone had a grenade launcher. But that's okay, because we got a full reload, a little bit of slow motion from Nerd Rage, and we got a convenient level up there. So that was all very lucky because Idiot Savant, that doesn't happen all the time. But yeah, if you can get the reticule on the head and control the recoil going down, don't you bloody pick that gun up. See, the gunners know which ones are stronger because they'll go out of their way to pick them up. Yep, if you can get headshots, then you'll have a good enough time with it. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to shoot this guy in the face until he dies. Hopefully, we'll see how we go. If RNG favors us, we'll hit every single shot, which we should now because concentrated fire is a good thing. But the DPS on this thing, it's great. And it's not like we're firing expensive ammunition. You pay a cap for these even with the lowest charisma and barter rate imagined in the game. So it's fairly good. And they're light bullets too. So if you're worried about a survival playthrough where you don't have to... we have to carry limited ammo supplies to prevent yourself from breaking your own legs, then it's advisable to use this weapon. Also, your damage penalty won't be half as bad. Like, literally won't be half as bad. That's a grenade launcher. Oh my goodness. That just wiped half my health. That's scary. I gotta make sure that they don't grab that weapon. I might have to pick it up for myself. Those guys are circling around to it, but hitting them now, it's not worth. Unfortunately, we can't increase our range by switching to a non-suppressed version. My inspiration for this one was a Glock, because I thought I'd be holding it. Don't you run to that grenade launcher. I thought you'd be holding it in one hand. So you just Glock people, but you don't. It's all two-handed, which is nice. Also, if you feel like the recoil animation in first person is really bad, just fire in third person, and yeah, you go through the 30-round magazines very quickly, and I'm emptying all of our things here. There we go. I decided not to aim for a little bit, and we're back down into Nerd Rage, but I think that anger is a little bit misplaced because... actually, we're not done yet. We haven't breached the room that's locked. Maybe I should just go and delete that door so it'll come out and play instead of having to breach the thing every time. Although, it would be nice if I remembered this and then, like, grab a flashbang or something to throw the flashbang in there to disorient them and take them out, all Navy SEAL style. Anyway, so this is the advanced receiver. Hipfire on this thing, very accurate, as you'd expect from a weapon for a compact nature that'd be easy to handle.
Sweet.
And if we dial in headshots here, then that's an RPG she just shot me with. Okay, despite all of the explosive packed into this today, the gunners still couldn't take me down. So, you know, I feel like we're looking at a fairly endgame SMG solution here. So, you know, if you've got a bunch of 3.8s to burn and you don't mind this weapon mod, then check it out. Go and download it. Oh, he's right there. Although I gotta say, there's a lot of echo and reverb coming from this suppressed semi-auto version. It's interesting. And, of course, classic holstered weapons compatibility here. If you use... I mean, they're a little bit high up, but that might just be because of how the animations are and how compact the weapon is. Okay, this is Bravo 6 going dark, or whatever that quote does. We're doing this during the night, full stealth edition version with laser sight. They won't notice where we are. Oh yeah, feel that power. So again, like the Infiltrator SMG yesterday, this thing, it's stacking on the sneak criticals very quickly and getting an incredible amount of damage from it, which is really fun to use because if you remain stealthy, which is kind of like a meta game in and of itself. Where's the third guy in here? Did he even notice? Excuse me? I guess he didn't. Yeah, it's like a meta game. Just don't get spotted and you'll get all of this extra damage, which is easier if you've got unyielding armor. Ever tried unyielding armor in Fallout 4? It's a little bit more dangerous than in 76 where you die and lose your progress. Gotta make sure we blow up all the turrets. We've got great hip fire on this thing, so we don't have to worry about aiming down sights, and the volume of fire is so high that the occasional missed shot doesn't matter anyway because there's already a bullet that's following like 2 frames later. There was an explosion. Someone here has a grenade launcher. I can smell him. Not that guy. That guy had a service rifle, I think. Is that the grenade launcher guy? Well, if it was, not anymore. No, it was that one. Someone bloody had one. I'm getting paranoid. Anyways, so yeah, the stealth mission. It's, everything is going very well. We haven't been spotted once. We've had a couple of shots that weren't sneak criticals, and whoops. Let me just... Now, even now, during the middle of the night, this thing, its night vision scope is not working. Okay, we might have to go outside and use this thing, but I'm thinking, since this thing is technically a rifleman-based weapon now, with a scope, we might get sniper knockdowns out of this, which is really good. So we'll try and find that out. Oh, here's the one that I missed. You go bye-bye now. We still didn't get detected or didn't get shot at, so fine. Stealth mission flawless. Okay, time to do a bit of sniping, perhaps. First of all, we'll try to get this guy's arm off. There we go. And now we're almost into danger level caution. Who's that? It's a glowing mongrel, in fact. Well, you need to go down because you're causing Swan to aggro. It's not a huge deal if the dogs see me because they'll be gone soon enough. I don't know if Swan sees me, though. That's the thing. Nope, we're in caution. Great. Oh, yeah, you can get sniper knockdowns, which means with this 80-round magazine, and I'm not actually sure what the percentage is to get that knockdown, but anyways, that's really good news. Also, I feel like it's still way too bright, even though we're in the middle of the night. Perhaps this is a scope that's designed for those darker nights mods, and I'm just shooting the grass here. We might actually ragdoll Swan enough to fall through the face of the earth here, which would be funny, but what I should be doing, instead of just letting him, just shooting him with the standard one, is doing that whilst he's getting back up, and then we'll go back over to our snipey version, and then switch back over to this, give us time to reload, knock him down again, and then once we've done that, then we just mow him and just shoot him and kill him like that. So I don't know whether this night vision scope is supposed to function like that, or whether that's a intentional feature of the weapon, but if you've got 2 of these and you've got a single target like that, it'll take a beating for days, then you could easily just wipe them. Like, it's a very... Like, this weapon is very focused, and the weapon knows what it wants to do. It wants to be really powerful at close range, right? That's why the recoil is so high, so you can't... Not on this version. The recoil is so high that you can't really use it over a range from me to whatever log I was shooting at. And that is, again, defined, or rather added onto by its range stat from being that far. Because I could hit that if I burst fire, but I'll be getting such a damage penalty from the range, and, you know, not getting much DPS in terms of how many bullets I fire, because I have to stop my DPS to let the recoil control itself or reset, that... Yeah, it's not going to be any good, so I really like this thing, knows what it wants to do, and is behaving like it would perhaps in real life, or at least what it was like in Battlefield, and we all know Battlefield games are real life. This thing was in... What DLC? Was it the Naval Strike DLC it came in Battlefield 4? I can't remember, but I remember being killed with it and being frustrated a lot, because it was a hard gun to beat in close quarters, and again, it's, those characteristics are showing in this weapon in the Fallout 4 mod, so it's all nice and connected now. Alright, so the old stun and gun tactic works pretty well during the night when you get sneak criticals, but what about during the day? Now, I think for this version, I might have to just utilize the scoped version here with a just in that, so I can actually see what I'm shooting at. And if he does happen to spot me, which I don't suspect will be not happening, or rather I expect him to see me pretty soon here, we might have to pop some damage boosting chems just to give me a little bit more extra punch here, because this guy, he's a tanky fella, but that being said, we got a lot of good work done there very, very quickly. if you ask me, I reckon Brian T. Delaney delivers that line so much better. He has way better psycho lines, I reckon. That's not a lot of Fallout 4 discourse to hear about, like which actor did a better job, like Jennifer Hale versus the it's Mark Meer who voices Bro Shep. That's right. I've only ever played Mass Effect as Bro Shep. Don't think I'll do a Fem Shep playthrough. I can't romance Ashley Williams then, now can I? Right, let's go for some headshots here. Actually, we might switch back over to our scoped version, see if we can get him on the ground for even just a little while. Finish off that VATS round. Maybe shouldn't have done that, but we did get to push him over a little bit with the stagnations of that particular mag dump, which is great. But one thing we got to worry about here is whether we're going to have enough rounds to do this. Now, that massive amount of sneak criticals that I got first was pretty good, and now we've activated Nerd Rage, so well done, Crazed Myler Hunter. You've just activated my trap card. And that's a knockdown there, and we'll finish it off in VATS because I haven't reloaded my guns, haven't done my due diligence. There's a spit coming in. Almost got a trade kill just then. That was close. Alright, so I think I'm going to call it there. It looks like you can get a little bit of good damage with this thing during the day, but, you know, without all of those sneak criticals constantly, the job is done a lot less cleaner and a lot less sooner. But we managed to do it, and now this pond is ours. We can have all of the wild tar berries we want. You can't even plant those, can you? Like, what's the difference? Are these, like, harder to cultivate because they're wild? That's always annoyed me about Fallout 4. Some of the wild stuff you find out there, like wild corn you can't plant in your settlement as domesticated corn. Like, get out of here. I'm not a farmer, but I can put wild corn in the ground, and I would say that it would grow, provided I give it enough lawn care. And there you go, there's some bash animation kill things, and we poked them with a hot suppressor, and they died. And that there was an SR-2. If you're impressed by this weapon and would like to download it for yourself, and I do highly recommend it, go ahead, check out links in the description, it shall be down there. And in regards to this weapon, I actually really like it quite a lot, despite the fact... Hang on, is that... No, the ejection port doesn't open. Don't worry about that. It's got a very clear aim. It just wants to be a very close quarters killing machine DLC. Damage powerhouse. DPS powerhouse. And that's what it is. And it does that really, really well. So it's going to not be as good over range. So, you know, if you've got an enemy at range, switch over to something else. But for dependable, reliable damage in close quarter situations, even if you're not stealth, you could see this as a very useful tool in your arsenal. So go and grab it. Thank you very much for watching, guys.